Hey, happy
Hi.
Valentine's Day.
Happy Valentine's Day.
My little my chocolate heart-shaped candy here wanted to say hello. I am on camera today, which is not typical, so you're welcome. Happy V-Day. I love you. So he just wanted to say hi, but we're about to get to the reading.
Hello.
And goodbye.
Goodbye.
All right. All right, turn the TV down a little bit, please.
Okay.
Happy camera switch. See, these are the issues that I don't have when I'm not on camera. My camera tilted. Put your little jumping. All right, go ahead. I'll be out in a minute. Happy Valentine's Day, everyone. Yeah, I just wanted to switch it up today. Get on camera because I haven't been in so long and I'm usually not. So hope you appreciate it. Hope it's aesthetically pleasing to your spiritual senses. And usually I don't have to worry about my hair and none of that, when we just looking at the cards and cleavage and all, like, it's just a whole thing. I do not miss not being on camera because when I can just focus on the cards and my hands, make sure my hands got a little oil on them, and that's about it. That makes it that much easier to just channel and also to be consistent and coming to the table every day. Because before, when I used to be on camera all the time, it was always a thought about what I look like and do I look presentable and what I have on and da 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 da. And some days when you just don't feel like getting it together, I also didn't feel like putting the message out. So I'm grateful now that I don't really have those issues and I'm much more consistent in this engagement in this space that I love, speaking of Valentine's Day, to be in. Being here with you, whomever engages, I'm also grateful for your presence here to watch and listen and exchange energy with me. So once again, I hope that you're having a wonderful, wonderful Valentine's Day for sure, with lovers, friends, or even just by your lonesome in the most blissful way. Yeah. All right, so let's see. Oh, well, let me cut. You heard me shuffling, so they're definitely shuffled, but I'll cut and then we'll see what the bottom card is, okay? Once again, don't have to worry about these issues when you can see the cards. All right, so we got the Seven of Pentacles here. Seven of Pentacles. So somebody is thoughtful about their long-term investments, maybe considering the outcome of investments that have been made thus far. I'll keep it up so you can actually see. Thinking about investments that have been made up until this point, what they've yielded, the value of that return. A lot of times with the Seven of Pentacles, it can be this or that. Sometimes I see it as it's all about long-term investments, right? So in that regard, and it's also about the persistence that you put behind those investments, which you actually, what actions you took to cultivate that harvest. So it really comes down to a matter of perception. If you view those Seven Pentacles as something favorable, then you feel like the work was well done or work was well managed. But if you put in a whole hell of a lot of work, and as sometimes you can see, it almost looks like he's still looking like, how can I get the rest of those six out? There's only one, not necessarily the full seven. It's only one that's truly been harvested. And it may be a matter of an expectation to continue to work in the same regard of commitment and devotion to harvest the totality of whatever this outcome is or produce is. Or it could be somebody feeling like they did a whole lot for no reason and they're the ends did not really match the means, you know. So it depends, but we'll take it out, even though you can't see it. And on the bottom, I'm seeing the Judgment card because I didn't turn it over, but just so you know, the Judgment's on the bottom now. So there's some decision making going on here, or a big decision has taken place. Ooh, wow, hold up. And it came back out. Judgment and the Wheel of Fortune. Wow, hold on here. So this is like matters of destiny that are being considered. Can you see my incense? Yeah, you can a little bit. The Wheel of Fortune is definitely a windfall. It could be luck, it could be abundance, but like I said, that karmic wheel, for those that are on top of the wheel, it's a favorable experience. For those that are on the bottom, this is the return of, okay. This with the Seven of Pentacles is the return for your labor. Your whatever your karmic or dharmic outcome may be, which is why it's perspective, it's perspectively subjective. Let's go with that. That's why it's subjective, because it depends on exactly what you were sowing, how you were sowing, the motivation and ambition, even the water that you were using, the seed, like everything mattered at this state as to how you see your harvest at this one. With the Wheel of Fortune here, everybody is privy to the Wheel of Fortune, but it's a matter of, are you on the upswing or the low swing, the higher vibration of it or the lower vibration? Because it's just the karmic, it's just the universal law that you reap what you sow. So everybody is receiving some return for the energy that they've invested, let's say over, like the past 12 years. It's particularly with Jupiter in the mix. With that Wheel of Fortune, it could be the past 12 years. I think that's Virgo with the Seven of Pentacles, but don't quote me on that. You know, sometimes I'll be wrong. But definitely Jupiter here. Obviously, I know that off the top. But that Wheel of Fortune is like everyone, it's like the gift that now everyone is unopening. Unopening. The gift that everyone is unwrapping. Like, tell them what they want for it, for how you played the game, or the reward for your participation in the game of life, so to speak. And the Judgment card is very final in this regard, because it's according to the past cycle. Now, of course, we have more cycles ahead if you're lucky, for sure, that there's more life to live. If you're blessed, I should say, there's more life to live. But what you get now has already been decided upon. And I would say in this regard, so far, of course, like I said, it's subjective or relative to the perspective of the sower. But with the Wheel of Fortune and the Judgment card, that's a breakthrough of abundance right there. And it's speaking to me to say that with the Seven of Pentacles, this, as you've been sowing quite a great deal persistently, consistently, maybe not always seeing the fruits of your labor, or the reaping of your, not really seeing the evidence of your hard work. It's maybe sometimes not even feeling like you should continue on in the way that you're working, because you're not seeing more of an immediate return. But you continue on anyway. You keep on sowing, you keep investing in yourself, investing in your business, growing your portfolio, advancing your education, increasing your spiritual awareness, and maybe even continuing your practical education, or whatever it is giving more of a sowing into your own life, into your own life experience, in whatever way that gets to be. That's why it's so subjective, because you can only really harvest off of the seeds that you've sown. However, with the Wheel of Fortune in the mix, it definitely does imply that Jupiter is here expanding it's not expanding so much on the fact that, you know, it's just giving out gifts that people don't deserve. It's quite the contrary, because Saturn has kind of vetted us all between its retros and now forward movement. Now it's in Pisces. I'm sorry, in Aquarius, right? Still, I believe it's still in Aquarius. Because I know it was retro, but it moved forward. And throughout those swings back and forth is when we were being vetted, because Saturn doesn't give out anything for free or for shits and giggles. It's like you're going to earn your keep, you know, when it comes to Saturn. So between those two energies of Saturn and Jupiter is how rewards, karma, and dharma is released. So it's been absolutely on the matter of how you've sown, how you've proven yourself to be worthy of a particular harvest or return for your work, or just diligent enough to continue to work for it. And everybody's expression of work is different. You know, it's very unique. It's very it's very specific and particular to, as I'm saying, the sower. So how one may have sown may not really mirror the other, but it was according to the destiny that was more or less laid out before you, how you were being guided to use your resources or to magnify them, to sow again when things didn't work out, or to start something altogether new. You know, how you managed that process really is the truth teller as to what you will get in return. And as I didn't really finish my thought with the Wheel of Fortune, it's like Jupiter is here to expand that reward, like almost seemingly beyond your wildest dreams or beyond your expectations. But it's the gauge of the universe is different from our earthly gauge of reward and work and reward and cause and effect, and, you know, even karma and dharma. What we think is karmic isn't even always so. You know, sometimes it was the lesson that just helped us to grow into the beings that we needed to be, to put us in the positions to be in reception for what was ultimately coming down the pike, i.e. what's coming now, apparently. So it's like this expansion of sorts, this bigger than life type of return for your harvest, for your sowing, is not just, you know, pick and choose, like, oh, you get this because you're special, or you don't because you're not. It was measured by our diligence, and also by the intentions behind our persistence. You know, like the energy, the frequency by which you continue to work. It's not really measured by what you actually got done per se, like how many businesses you opened, how much education you got, how you know, how advanced you became in your spiritual awareness or your self-awareness. It was more so how you maintained a certain groundedness throughout the process. No matter what came your way, you still kind of picked up and used whatever lot you were privy to at that time, and sowed it again, like sowed that seed again and again and again, until something, God, by God, even if it was just one pentacle, something sprouted. You know, that's more or less like the gauge. And now, in that same regard, consider a lot of people were sowing that way into things that were not on the highest vibration. They were on that lower volume of frequency. And that's why the Wheel of Fortune is up or down, you know, because some people were very persistent in sowing in very diabolical ways, and they, you know, they yielded quite a harvest in that regard as well. And some had, you know, there were all types of like celestial signs to stop and go or move around or shift themselves within the process, and that is always also judged accordingly. So those that didn't yield to certain signs and signals yet continue to sow in a very persistent and insistent way, well, they're also going to reap the harvest. You know what I mean? It's like it's all fair game, but the Judgment card here is definitely like, it's like Gabriel blowing that horn, that something has definitely come to a culmination here. Oh, I'm got all types of cards. Hold on, I'm losing control over here. Let's see. Ooh, the World card. All right, so first we got the Two of Swords. Let's start with that. I honestly like it better for you to be able to see the cards and for me to be able to look at them while I'm talking, because it incites a different channeling for me. So, enjoy this as you will, if you do. But I certainly look forward to putting that camera back down so you can see what I'm talking about here. And then we got the World card and the Knight of Wands. Okay. So the Two of Swords is kind of like at a crossroads. What's the Two of Swords about? It's like, because we know what the Two of Swords is. It's either like being obstinate to a decision, abstaining, or resistant to making a choice, or maybe not having all the information that you feel is needed to make a choice in one way or another, or make a decision. A judgment call. Oh, I just heard that clear as day. A judgment call. What's the judgment call for? Because then we got the World card, which is yet another ending and beginning. So having closed a very big cycle, or brought some project to a close, perhaps. I'm feeling something here though about that judgment call, what I just said. It's like maybe the reward is on account of having activated good judgment when, okay, yeah, especially during the times when you didn't really, as I've said, have a lot of information on hand, or you didn't know the full scope or range of what you were dealing with. Back at that Seven of Pentacles energy, where you were sometimes, some of us was just sowing blindly, like hoping that something would sprout at the end of the season. You didn't really even know why. Some things did and some things didn't, and all you had was your present persistence to pick up and do it again. And it's something here about this judgment call of not being swayed by the projections, yes, of the realities that we were living, that would have ultimately would have promoted us to be in a state of resistance, like to not want to move forward, or to not even see the potential of hope and prosperity, or even see the value in our own present productivity, on account of maybe even with the Seven of Pentacles, sometimes that can be like almost a bit of a disappointment from our expectations. So it's a management of our expectations. That's what ultimately has carried those that, that has separated the wheat from the chaff, is what I'm trying to get to. That has helped us to close out these cycles before, as I said, in the past 12 years or so, which were very brutal for some of us, subconsciously and consciously. There was a lot going on and there's been a lot going on in the past 12 years or so, for many of us, that we had to navigate through almost blindly. Like blind ambition is what I'm getting. Yeah. And at times, like, it didn't even make sense to continue on in the ways that we did, but somehow we still did. It didn't make sense to continue to sow into things that weren't yielding the harvest that we expected, or to continue to love people that we didn't feel that reciprocation from, to continue to sow into ourselves, believe in ourselves and certain abilities and potentials that we knew were there, but we didn't have any evidence for. Yeah. So having prospered in that season of quite a bit of uncertainty is the thing that you've done successfully with the World card. You've closed out that cycle of uncertainty to the point now what can be led with is almost a blind, is almost like a inhibited, is that the right word? Inhibition is what I'm trying to get to. Ambition that's uninhibited. Yeah, that's uninhibited with the Knight of Wands, where you can pretty much, like, whatever you see, because of the cycle that you've come through, you can now move with a certain confidence and ambition about your desires now, like almost a wild ambition, but not reckless with the Knight of Wands. It's not given reckless, it's given just uninhibited. You see something, whereas before in certain seasons, everything needed to be calculated. We were always trying to figure out where we went wrong last time, how to readjust, how to fix. And a lot of times for many of us, it wasn't even a matter of what we were doing wrong. There was external interference that was working as opposition against our best efforts. There was also the timing of all things, that even those things that were so-called working against us were really working in favor and in tandem with the timing of the universe, because some things it just wasn't time for yet. It wasn't time to harvest. It wasn't the season for us, or the timing of which whatever it is we were working on was right to serve, or right to be manifested. But as a human going through that process, you're not privy to that Two of Swords. You can't see that just in your simple mind and your simple vision per se. You have to trust that obviously there's some reason for whatever the resistance or the delay may be, but you don't really know it. So even that within our human being is cause for us to kind of like pull back, some of us to just stop altogether, to completely give up. But there's something to be said about those that in the upright, in the highest vibration here, did not do that. You kept going, you stayed devoted to your visions, to the belief in yourself, when you had no evidence for it. And now with the Knight of Wands is nothing short of confident. Sometimes he can be overconfident, maybe a little bit over ambitious, a little overzealous, definitely driven by passion. But with the World card, it's something grounded about that for me, that's okay now. It's not reckless, like, you have no self-control and you'll just fly off the seat of your pants. Is that your vision has been streamlined in such a way because of that previous process, which makes it all the more valuable, that now you can almost trust yourself to really follow your passion wherever it'll lead, And I like that for a Valentine's message. Like really engaging, really allowing yourself to be ignited by your purest passion, like without having to feel like you gotta reject it with this Four of Cups. Like you even rejecting yourself or rejecting your own pure desires. It's like you don't have to do that anymore. You've been vetted for, to be a wise wielder of creativity, which is, the most supreme source. Even if this is in the matter of intimacy with the wand energy, I don't know why that's just coming up for me, but following your passion in that regard too. Some of us have been conditioned or conditioned ourselves to be a lot more guarded, maybe even rejecting love in certain forms, and that's in the purest form there, because of our past experiences, not trusting ourselves with the tool stores. That's what that gives a lot of times, like not feeling like you can trust yourself with other people, not let alone trusting other people with you, simply on account of your unfavorable experiences. But it's, to me, it's giving that we get to really find, you know, with that Seven of Pentacles, really taking a different inventory over our life experience, over the taking a different inventory over what life has yielded us up until this point and how we've shown up to cultivate it one way or another, and seeing things not from the perspective of loss or lack, like you did anything wrong or you should have done something different, but almost like reverencing it all as what was absolutely necessary to get you to the point that you are now. Everything that was good about it, everything that was unfavorable about it, everything you're indifferent to, all mattered because it's put you in this position now to wisely imagine, like, it's the feeling of like, what would you do if you felt like you were supported? Like you would have much less resistance to certain ambitions and really following your heart's desire, knowing that it was already done on the other end, that all you really needed to do was just kind of decide that it gets to be, you know? We haven't had much room for that conditioning. Well, I should say much evidence for that conditioning until now. Now we're in a position to actually see with this Wheel of Fortune, the Judgment, to act the World card here, to see the world shifting more in our favor, like fortune in our favor, so that we don't have to feel like we have to work so hard to even prove ourselves to ourselves, let alone to magnify any external results for the purposes of, you know, us affirming or more or less affirming our authority over our own creativity. You know, I hope this is making sense because I feel like I'm kind of talking in circles a little bit, but I feel the energy more than I think I'm doing a good job in expressing it. This is a transition of liberated passion. That's what it's feeling like to me. Liberated passion or ambition, however you want to see that, which is more or less one and the same when we're talking about wand energy. It's like really letting yourself enjoy creation as you are cultivating it, like your own canvas of sorts. That was a Lover's card, but it was a lot of stuff with it. How can I say that better? It's gonna come to me better. It's like you're free. You're free to. Oh, look at this. You're free to create. It's like the most powerful creative energy in the deck with the King of Wands, and then the Emperor. And him looking back at this, it's like you can look back at that time when you felt rejected, or when there were certain things that were kind of off limits to you or out of reach, maybe perhaps, or it felt out of reach, or you even felt unworthy. That's what it's given. It's given unworthiness with this Four of Cups. Like you almost felt out of, like it was out of your jurisdiction to create a certain way, or even to have an anticipation, because it's right under the Seven of Pentacles, to have a certain anticipation for a certain harvest. Yeah, okay, Spirit, help me say this. Because with that Seven of Pentacles, it's given, especially before the World card, even before the Wheel of Fortune and the Judgment, a certain limitation on, I kind of did say this already, the idea of work equals reward or return. There was a certain there's a certain limited idea about that based off of our previous experience, especially for those of us that were putting in the work and still weren't seeing the return in some ways. So it almost like conditions you to feel like, you know, it's that old world mentality of feeling like you almost have to overwork yourself to see any type of real results or measurable results. But this is like doing away with that mentality. The King of Wands is effortlessly creative. Whatever he sets his mind to or sets his sight upon. And look, from the Knight of Wands, it's a beautiful synergy here. It's like that's the energy that we get to, the frequency that we get to move in, like just doing it, you know, just doing us, letting your power speak for itself, or your power precedes you to some degree. And the King of Wands with the Emperor is just doubling down on what I said, that you've already been cultivated with the wisdom and the knowledge and the know-how to know, to trust that you can move without inhibition, move without limitation, move without, you know, keeping your own self in a box, because the process itself has almost like chiseled away at the parts of you that may have moved like a Knight of Wands without wisdom, you know, like that may have just kind of done things and then you felt sorry about it later, or you regretted it, or you felt like, you know, you wish you would have done something different, or you made a commitment that, or shoot, even lack of commitment with the Knight of Wands, like kind of just bouncing from one thing to the other, trying to figure out what sticks. Man, I still don't feel like I'm saying it right. With this King of Wands and the Emperor, it's like you have all reign and right to create the life of your choosing. That sounds so, it sounds so whack. It sounds so cliche. And that's the thing, it's like, I think that's the problem, is that it's like, yeah, the life of my choosing. But no, for real, like you really do. The Knight of Wands and the Emperor is falling up under the Wheel of Fortune and the Judgment card. That means you have the final say on your fortune. One way or another, whatever you say is what goes. Whatever you put your mind to focus to create, or even bring, it's not even so much, it's like to even focus on the frequency of a thing, almost literally your energy precedes you. So as a King of Wands, it's like you think a thing and so it is. That sounds so crazy, but that's how it's coming up for me. Death card is the end of what? Indecision or untrustworthiness with the Two of Swords. Like it's something transformative happening here energetically, perhaps that none of us is even really realizing right now, because it's not something that we can, it's like watching a butterfly transform in the cocoon. nine times you don't really watch that process, you know, unless you're a science nerd or something. You know, like that's not what you do. But that's the way that it's happening, and this is given that it's already taken place. It's just, what's transforming is now the physical evidence of your identity in the world. So it's like it's already happened internally, unbeknownst to you, perhaps, probably, because you might still be in the mentality that you're kind of beholden to the restrictions of the human being creed, if that makes sense. Like, as a human being, there are only certain things that I can do. And then there are certain things that I can't do. And then also as a citizen of this society, wherever you live, there are certain parameters around, you know, kind of constrictions. And yeah, parameters is a good word, around your passion. Thank you, Spirit. Parameters around your passion. That is the thing. That's the illusion that's being laid to rest with this death card. There are no parameters around your passion. There's no wall, there's no gate, there's no boundary. Now, of course, with the Seven of Pentacles and even back to the Wheel of Fortune and the Judgment, there's a responsibility for what you create. There's a responsibility for how you wield. Okay, thank you, Spirit. Why was this so hard? There's a responsibility for how you wield that passion. Thinking about the Knight of Wands, where there's even, you know, the caution of reckless abandonment. But the point is that you don't have to worry about, you don't have to be troubled within your own being, you know, to be so consumed as to how you do every little thing, or even what you desire to have, and like almost like stripping it down, or not stripping it down, what's the right word, like analyzing every little bit of it, and even scrutinizing every bit of it, because that was the distrust, the untrustworthiness that we had cultivated in that past season, when we thought we were being chastised, or we were being opposed or resisted for our natural heart's desires or truest ambitions, when we were really just being prepared to receive it, prepared to live in it, prepared to create it even, you know. It was very purposeful as to why we were being conditioned that way, why even our surrounding circumstances were helping to support that narrative that we were untrustworthy with our own energy. We don't really know what's best for us. Like, whatever we think we want to do is probably not ideal. And then having the physical evidence for it, again, amplified by that external opposition. It's like, as a human being, of course, you're going to take the evidence as you see it. The Seven of Pentacles vibes, like, well, I see one pentacle and 6 more in the bush. This ain't really 7 to me. But lo and behold, it was like it was on reserve as this process, that Wheel of Fortune was carrying itself out for exactly the perfect moment of judgment, the time and the place of reckoning for all, good, bad, and different, for now all things to come online and on one accord in divine timing. You can leave behind the scrutiny, the self-doubt, the uncertainty, the inhibition, inhibited ambition. You can leave that behind, because now you're sitting in the King of Wands and the Emperor, and having transformed into what? The mastery with the Hermit card. An ascended master. That's what you're transformed into. Oh my gosh. Let me get one more with the Hermit just to make it even, because I got 2 on the other side. Can I just get one more? But I mean, it speaks for itself. Like, it's the transcendence, ascendance, as I said, transformation, death card, caterpillar to butterfly, of ascended mastery. That's what has happened. And you about to see, that was too many. This is too many too, but the Strength card and the King of Cups. You're about to see. Oh my God. That's an Earth Angel. You're about to see the evidence. Everything is about to make sense. Put it that way. Every test, every trial, every tribulation, every opposition, every alliance, every polarity that you've experienced or have even been in your life is finna be balanced out to make perfect sense on a spiritual level and in the natural. That's what the Hermit and the Temperance is giving. Virgo energy for sure. And I kept sensing like Virgo, because I think the Seven of Pentacles is Virgo as well. But I literally kept hearing Virgo in my mind. You have ascended to, it's your, what ascended mastery is you having converged with the celestial or spiritual identity of your human nature, or that with your human nature, and it being expressed in a very physical and natural way. That's something that has not been witnessed by we in this realm and on this timeline before us. We've seen the likes of that in the stories of the Bible, i.e. Jesus, but we haven't witnessed it for ourselves. We can only more or less believe as we feel guided, but it's coming to a point where now seeing is about to reinforce the believing. And you are becoming the sight, the sign, and the wonder of the things that are worth believing in. The things that now people can see to believe within and for themselves. That's why it's been so hard to get this out, because it's such a powerful proclamation that you, like butterfly, you know, like that analogy and like, you know, that concept in nature is a powerful one indeed. Yet it's still very natural. You know, this is something unlike you've ever idealized before, because it's literally the essence of the heavens, the celestials being made manifest in the physical form. And you are one of those heavenly expressions. No wonder that's a hard pill to swallow and a strange truth to digest with the Four of Cups, because it's like, that's why I was saying it's like to have even the audacity to believe that you have even the authority to create the life you desire. Like, you have no evidence for that. None of us really does. That was intentional by oppositional forces for them, for working for us, was to strengthen our devotion. Really separating the wheat from the chaff to see who really wanted to affirm that reality for themselves. And that's on a small scale. So now with the Wheel of Fortune, which makes sense, and remember I was saying Saturn and Jupiter, that's what we proved ourselves. That's how we proved ourselves in the eyes of Saturn. Wheel of Fortune is now like, now I'm about to give you what you didn't even know you were working toward. Spiritual sovereignty in the earth realm. So imagine all the things that, like I said, everything always makes sense, even when it feels hard to get the message out. What would you do if you knew you had all support to do it, or even better, that you had no resistance to do it? What would you do? Life will look a lot different. We live life a certain way because we don't think that we have that liberty, but imagine having the evidence to prove that you actually do have that liberty, and now having the authority to express it. What would you do? What would you do with God level power activated in your human being, accessible in your daily life? You should probably start to consider that now, because congratulations. That's what you've won, Fred. Or Frederica. Well, I should say, that's what you won, so says Fred, right? Two of Cups here, new partnerships, commitments. So it's just like, you're not the only one, and you're about to start to converge and connect with others that are on the same page as you, which is going to make it even more surreal, whether this is intimately, platonically, professionally. That's where all of this comes into play, because this can cover all of that with the Two of Cups. So it's like you're going to have that mirror image, because you're an attractive force for this energy now. Like you're a conduit of it, and so it attracts to you. Your surroundings are going to start to prove this reality to you, where it was hard to really see it for yourself by yourself, right? Because who dares think that highly of themselves? Like, who dares? Especially with no evidence otherwise, like, what delusional type of crap is that? So it's like, now, first of all, to continue to persist in the small things was godlike power, because you had great obstacles pitted against you, where, like I said, you should have given up a long time ago. But now to actually see, oh my God, I'm seeing these, someone said it's just the tip of the iceberg. You're even bigger than you could imagine. That was two not alerts, but notifications from another channel, but back to back. It was the same channel, but back to back. Exactly. And now and sometimes as human beings, it's hard for us, like I said, to see that image of us in the mirror and believe it. But seeing it on the outside of you is what we are here to do, to be evidence of signs and wonders to one another. So now you're about to attract that evidence to you, those receipts to you, by the ways that even that you impact others, but certainly in the way that you begin to connect with those of a like mind and like spirit as you. So you won't have any room for doubt. Like, the evidence is going to be undeniable. And here's the Queen of Swords. The truth of who you are, undeniable. The reality, the honor, the ingenuity. And also this speaks to the groundedness of your decision making and choices. Like, you can trust yourself. In and out of these partnerships and contracts that may even be on the horizon, you can trust yourself. Trust the genius that you bring to the table, the expertise that the special set of skills based on your your life experience that you bring to any table that you're seated at or invited to or that you host. And certainly to use that energy to navigate and to contribute to partnerships that are going to be productive to whatever platform you're creating, whether it be an actual platform of a public expression or however it is that you do life moving forward. That is a platform. It's a testimony. You may not even realize how many people are watching you do what you do that's just regular old schmegular day to day and are somehow inspired by it. So imagine it being magnified to proportions that are mind-blowing, quite honestly, that literally take the parameters off of so-called reality as we've been conditioned to believe it to be. Supernatural is it in a world, in a word, in a world. In a world, in a word, it's supernatural. You are supernatural. Wow. If that ain't a reason to love you, then child, you ain't never gonna have one. All right, so anyway, I'm done here. Thank you for listening and watching. Again, I hope that you're having a wonderful Valentine's Day and giving all of this after this very super duper positive affirmation even more reason for you to be selective with how you wield your energy, how you share it, how you invest it, what you allow to be connected to it. All of that. You don't have the luxury of just kind of like aimlessly throwing your energy away to the wind, like, or to your pearls to swine anymore. You are the pearl. Like you don't have that luxury you probably never really did, but you had grace for it. But you certainly don't have that luxury because the stakes are much higher now. The opposition is although defeated, definitely quite audacious, even still, and also a bit desperate at this point. Desperate wasn't really the word I was looking for. It was more so, yeah, well, we'll stick with that. There's a certain spirit of despair out there for those that, like I said, are not experiencing that frequency of affirmation of their spiritual authority or human authority, and they're looking to supplement it elsewhere, maybe perhaps through what power source you are cultivating over there. So just be mindful of that. I'm glad we didn't get the super duper caution vibes on Valentine's Day. This is just an amplified message of just how much you are loved by the divine, and so therefore how much you have the accountability to love on yourself. And loving on yourself means being very selective about what else you allow to love on you and what you don't. So I pray that if nothing else, that energy has been amplified to really magnify your passion for yourself on this day. That you really appreciate the skin that you're in, and also the spirit that is beyond the limitations of that skin, beyond the parameters of your body car. It's something so much more far out and expansive and super than what you see in the mirror. Although that's a pretty sight too, if I do say so myself, All right, so I will leave it there. Anyway, thank you so much again. Until next time, as always, I leave you with